few years ago, I traveled to Africa. And we were on a safari. And we were deep in the Sahara. And there was no one around. And it wasn't very comfortable. The back tire was old and it was a little crickety, so it wasn't that comfortable of a ride. But we were patient for 1 hour, 2 hours, but then it was too much. And it was time for me to stand up. So when I stood up, there was a boy, maybe about 10. I said, "Hey, do you want to trade seats with me?" He's like, "Oh, yeah." And in Africa, if a man asks a child a question, the child has to say yes. So we switched seats. It was so much more comfortable. I was really able to relax. And then later, we were driving. And all day the driver was drinking. So our vehicle is turning left and right, and the vehicle actually turned over. There was a big explosion. And we all ran out to make sure everyone was okay, make sure no one was bleeding, and everyone was okay. But then I thought, where's the boy? Where's the boy that I traded seats with, who was sitting in the back? And the boy was actually under the bus, which is actually a bus, or under the bus, the truck, which is actually a bus. So what happened, the boy fell out of the bus before the truck fell over, and then he got caught underneath. And we lifted the bus up to see if we could get him, and he was barely breathing until he passed away. A few years later, in New York, I was in the hospital in 1987. And I went to see a doctor about some pain, and the doctor said, "I want to do the surgery." And I said, "No, I don't want to. You know, I've got a long life ahead of me. I have a big family." And he encouraged me to do the surgery. But I said, no, I don't want you to take it out. I mean, you could do this surgery. Do the surgery now. And that's when I thought, when is enough enough? You can see these pictures here. Now this photo, is about the time another man went to the hospital. And the man is about 25 years old. And one day, he was playing basketball and he hurt his leg. And he said, "Oh, I don't care." And for 2 weeks, he didn't do anything. And it turns out it was cancer. And the doctor did surgery and opened up his leg. And they took out the cancer, but he still has the cancer. And it turns out that he had 2 different kinds of cancer at the same time, coincidentally. And when I went to go visit him in the hospital, I was joking around and I put on a goggle mask and a snorkel. And once the doctor left, and he was done with all the doctors and everything, I said we'd go on vacation. And he was so happy. And even though the doctor had to remove his leg, he was still hopping around on one leg. And he was playing practical jokes on the doctors, and he was telling girls to come on over. In about 2 years, the man was still doing fine. And he was only 25 years old. So the first experience with the boy died too soon. And then this man, he was only 25 and living life to the fullest. Now read this. So the school of Buddhism teaches that the heart is this is a very short story from about 300 BC. And the center keeps describing the center teaching. It says the eyes or ears, or sound, or color. And I think that's interesting. Eyes and color. If you analyze the eyes, and you think about the eyes, and you think about the color you see, they're not separate. Often you think eyes are inside me, and the colors are outside me. But I have a different opinion and of color. I've got a different opinion of color. And I'm not colorblind. But for example, Picasso, he painted with all these different colors. So eyes and color are not separate. They're very much together. So I stopped looking at the world as, this is how I perceive things and this is the actual thing. It's all one thing. And for example, sound and hearing aids. There's such a variety. So people who are hard of hearing have the hearing aids. And if you're deaf, or you've got the cochlear. It's such a variety. There's such a variety of different people who can or can't hear or can barely hear. So again, they're not separate. We are not separate from the world. We are very much, everything we do is connected and related. If you think of the world as separated, that's sad. You think maybe the world's against me. And you think about war and war is horrible. And people are against me. But if you think of things as more of a cohesiveness, it gives you a completely different perspective of the country. If we feel that the world is separate, then how do we search the world to find and fix things and, fix the order in which we live? If we just keep winning, we feel like we're winning at the game of life, and we just accept that we've got a beautiful family and a beautiful wife, then we've won the game. For example, if you get a golf trophy, that's proof. But in your heart, you may be disconnected. And you need to search a little more. Search in your life a little more. For example, Michael Jordan, the basketball player, about a year ago, he was involved in something, and he was very excited, very disappointed. I remember learning about the basketball player. And I felt like we had very similar experiences. So when I joined the basketball team, I was only 23. But you know what? Everyone was 23 too. But I was very excited to see the presentation. So I stood up. And he looked so upset and angry. He said, you over there. How can you prove you're the best? And you over there. A year ago, it was a very different experience. You were very negative. And I thought, what is this? Why? What is going on? And I thought, you know what? It'll never be enough. The opposite of payment. This man is a French writer. Named Jacques Lucid. And when he was older, he was running, and he actually fell and hurt himself. And after the age of 18, that's when Europe got involved in the World War, and he was sent to a concentration camp for 2 years. And he was still able to live life to the fullest and enjoy life. He said that he doubted that inside he just needed to accept everything and love everything. Inside. If I wanted to talk about personal viewpoint, no, I'm talking about out inside the entire world. No, at this time, the world was changing. There were big changes. There were problems with equality and things not being equal. In New York, people thought, or it was impossible to feel connected. Everyone felt very disconnected, very separate. And then there were groups that were suffering. And the groups weren't equal. They were experiencing pain inside. And we all know that we're not equal to God. But hearing people are just as equal as anyone else. They were trying to be better than the people who could not hear. And I was stuck in that mindset, and I couldn't get out of that mindset. I kept focusing on this and struggling with this. There's the Christian story of disconnect. Maybe you guys know this falling out. They searched to try to get reconnected. And the story is talking about the exact same thing. Searching to feel connected. And not to feel cut off. Now, we can't change the deaf community. We may be afraid, we may think, what can we do? And we can't change the world. Understand that everyone is scared. The economy's down the tubes. The environment's not all that great. So, what do? So we're talking about fundamentalism. So we're trying to get very clear rules of what to do. We want a clear idea of everyone's roles, what women's roles are, what men's roles are. And then we'll understand that that's order. But now, with the world changing, it's a little hard to keep following that order. But we're trying to feel reconnected. But fundamentalism, that order, all that, that needs to start here in your heart. I want to talk about the heart. You need to value your heart and cherish it. And live life to the fullest. Be silly. Be dirty and fun. Help people. And enjoy every day to the fullest. And it'll be amazing. One day I was walking and I arrived to a new city and it was just pouring down rain. And I thought, oh, man. And then I thought, this is beautiful. I'm here in Texas and I'm just walking around and it's beautiful. But then I got a cold, but that's a different story. One time I was walking in Texas and it was really dark and it was snowy. And that snow was absolutely beautiful. And I said, yeah. Look, hey, you. What are you doing with your life? You should be, helping your parents. But I'm happy with life. I don't feel like I need more. I'm cherishing the short time that I have here. I'm going to say this to you, and I say it to myself, and I've been for the past year. Part of my work is the fundamentals of oralism. And I personally made a big mistake. I tried to change people's belief. And I thought I was right. And I thought I was being connected with the rest of the world. But they were telling me no. I wasn't. I thought, well, I was deaf. Why aren't we feeling this togetherness? So I traveled to Africa and different countries, and I saw the same thing again and again. And then after 20 years, I still don't know. I don't know. But I learned I must always cherish what's in my heart. Thank you very much.